ಹಾಯ್ ಹಲೋ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಂಚಿಕೆ ಬಂದು ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಪಾಡ್ಕಾಸ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಭಾರತ ಕಂಡಂಥ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಸಿಂಗರ್ಸ್ ಶಿವಶ್ರೀ ಸ್ಕಂದ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಅಂತ. ಮೂಲತಃ ಇವರು ಚೆನ್ನೈಯವರು, ತಮಿಳ್ನಾಡವರು. ಸೊ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ಈಗ ಸೆಟ್ಲ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಂದರ್ಶನ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟಾಗಿ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಮುಂಚೆನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಒಂದು ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಸಂಗೀತ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅವರ ಜರ್ನಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಎ ಆರ್ ರೆಹಮಾನ್ ಸರ್ ಜೊತೆ ಹಾಡಿದಂಥ ಜರ್ನಿ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು. ಪೊನ್ನಿಯಿನ್ ಸೆಲ್ವನ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾಗೆ ಹಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅವರು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿ ಅವರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅವರು, ಇವರ ಹಾಡನ್ನು ಟ್ವೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರು ಕೂಡ. ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ದ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ವಾಟ್ ಶಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್, ದ ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ವಾಟ್ ಶಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್, ಓ ಮೈ ಗಾಡ್, ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ರಾಯರ ಭಕ್ತರು ಕೂಡ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ರಾಯರ ಭಕ್ತ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುಯಾಲಿಟಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡಿವೋಷ್ನಲ್, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಓವರಾಲ್ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಕೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೌ ಎ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಷಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅದೊಂದು ಪ್ಯಾಕೇಜ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಶನದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಸೋಣ. ಹಾಯ್ ಹಲೋ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ಸ್ಟೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರು. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಯೂರ ರಾಘವೇಂದ್ರ. ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಇವತ್ತು ನನಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಗಂಟ್ಲು ಮತ್ತು ಮೂಗು ಎಡವಟ್ಟಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನೆಗಡಿ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಈ ನೆಗಡಿ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಹಿಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆದರೆ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಿರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಸುರಕ್ಷಿತವಾಗಿ ಕಾಪಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಯಾರು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಿಂಗರ್ಸ್ಗಳು ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕಾಪಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ಬೈ ದ ವೇ ಮುಂಚೆನೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಈ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಶೋ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿರಲ್ಲ. ರೀಸನ್, ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟಾಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಪಿಸೋಡಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಸಿಂಗರ್ ಅಂತಿರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇಡೀ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಏನು ಈಗ ಇಡೀ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿಯವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಇವ್ರ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಇಷ್ಟವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಗಾಯಕಿ ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಶೋಲಿ. ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಶಿವಶ್ರೀ ಸ್ಕಂದ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಆನ್ ಗೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಸೊ ಗಂಟೆ ಸರಿ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಹಾಂ.
ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ನೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ?
ಹಾಂ, ನನಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬರೀ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ.
ಇಷ್ಟು ಬಂದರೆ ಬೇಜಾರಾಗೋಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ಗುರು.
ಬರಲ್ಲ.
ಸೊ ಜೋಕ್ಸ್ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಶಿ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈನ್. ಸೊ ತುಂಬ ಫಾರ್ಮಲಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಡೋಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ವೆರಿ ಫಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಓವರ್ ಹಿಯರ್. So more than anything, whenever I meet her, whenever I have conversation with her, there are a lot of things I dwell into and lot of things I gain knowledge from her.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
100%. So because it's not just about the musician what I'm trying to talk. So it's about the kind of experience what you have in terms of the life lessons and everything overall put together. So as a musician, Shivashri Skanda Prasad, so where was this musician born?
To start with, I should also say that I have gotten inspired a lot, during our conversations, whatever we've had. And, every conversation is a learning experience and we mature after that.
Yeah.
So it is both ways. It is mutual. The feeling is mutual.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was born in Chennai, Singare, Chennai, Tamil Nadu.
Singare Siriye.
Oh, by the way, that's my favorite song. I listen to it on loop. Yeah. And I was born in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, into a family full of musicians and Bharatanatyam dancers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was the atmosphere into which I was born. Yeah.
So you mean to say music, literally it comes in your genes?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it runs.
No, but
in me.
still, when was this musician Shivashri was born?
I was exposed to art from very young because my dad used to do a lot of recordings. He had a home studio. I grew up listening to music. I grew up watching Bharatanatyam, learning and everything. But to be very honest, dina practice ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. And my dad was very particular. I will not be given breakfast if I didn't practice for 1 hour in the morning. Wow. I had to sit.
So in case if you miss, no breakfast.
That was the rule. Thank God I didn't miss breakfast anyway.
Wow. Yeah.
Because that was very important to me more than practice. So I'm a foodie. So I was looking forward to breakfast, so I had to finish that 1 hour practice every day. Though it was, I felt it was torture, honestly, because it was growing up ears and all that. Um, but somewhere, I had the calling to go into Bharatanatyam. Okay, I was a Bharatanatyam dancer,
Wow.
professional. I know I did my Ranga Pravesha when I was 10 years old. I started doing Bharatanatyam. It went on for a while and I was completely immersed in it. Music was in the backstage. It was not like a primary thing that I was doing. I was singing, I was practicing, all that was there. I was learning under my guru A.S. Murali sir, that was there, but somewhere I didn't connect with music like I did with dance, like I did with Bharatanatyam. I was able to emote, I was able to express a lot, and I'm a very expressive person that way.
Yeah.
As my character, as a person, I'm very expressive. So dance was more natural to me, and I was doing. Post COVID,
Wow. It's like very recent.
very recently, you won't believe it, but post COVID, the entire scene changed, the entire scape, the calling, everything changed. I was asked to sing somewhere during COVID, during the pandemic. It was, there were so many Facebook lives, Instagram lives.
It was all virtual concert.
Virtual concerts, and everything was for healing. Okay. The point was, it was all pro bono. Right, because everybody was depressed and we were there to but it was not an essential commodity, so we were just on virtually trying to heal everybody, singing online, and I didn't have space. This was the reason why I shifted from dance to music. I didn't have space. My home in Chennai, it is very small, and we had to, since everything was virtual, it was on camera. If I stand and do the typical Natya Rambha, the frame will be done. So I was not able to dance. So people asked me to sing. So if you can't dance, why can't you sing?
But
it was this random.
But you had the knowledge of music, right?
Yes. So all credits to my parents.
Yeah.
They made me learn it. They made me practice it every day. And the school competitions, school cultural programs, all that was happening. I was also singing in college. I was dancing in college. All this was there. But it was not professional. It was not right in front. I was only a dancer up until then. But after this, so people knew that I also sing. She's a dancer who also sings.
And also, I think as a dancer, they have to get trained in terms of the classic. I mean, I'm just talking from the perspective of a classical dancer.
Yeah.
They have to get trained in classical music also to a certain level to be a dancer.
Yeah.
So because of the knowledge you...
And the bhava comes out through music. So it is a mandate that all dancers also learn music some way or the other. Tala jnana is important, raga jnana is important, bhava is important. So somehow everybody learns, and I also learned music and I was doing that. And my dad, being a mridangam vidwan, he was very particular that art knowledge is very important for my child. So he somehow ensured that I learned music and dance together. I also paint, and that was, so I was thinking.
So she's a true artist.
I was thinking I like only painting. And after that comes dance. After that comes somewhere,
singing
is there. Okay,
wow.
That was the scene. But the entire thing flipped upside down, and there was almost 3 to 4 live concerts that I was giving during pandemic every week. And since all of it stayed online, I could not repeat songs very much, too often. I had to keep learning new songs for every live. And it started growing on me somewhere because I kept learning so many songs. And what I did was, I didn't entirely sing Carnatic. I started incorporating Nama Sankirtana in it. So it is not different according to me.
Just for the normal layman, so what is Nama Sankirtana?
Yeah. So Nama Sankirtana is just, a series, it's like a string of different names of the Lord.
Wow.
So it is literally Namavali. Avali is like a string, Nama Avali. you repeat the name of the Lord, like, you know, a very popular Namavali you have from ISKCON, you have Hare Rama, Rama.
Maybe some
So,
2 lines. Can I?
yeah,
hear?
yeah, sure. Um, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Aha.
So you can just keep repeating this in any rag that comes to you. There's no particular raga, there's no particular tala that you have to maintain. It can be from your own manodharma. So that is Namavali, and generally there is a, you know, paddhati that we follow for Nama Sankirtane and all that. But I don't do the typical Nama Sankirtane paddhati also, because as boring as Carnatic has gotten to the next generation now,
Yeah.
Nama Sankirtane is even boring because people will be cluelessly sitting there.
She is making a statement. Please don't. I'm just telling in advance, right?
Yeah, I mean, but
That's a
yeah,
fact.
it's a
What she is
fact.
trying to speak. Yeah.
And you know, I can say this with so much confidence because the attention span of
Yeah.
the next generation has come down
Yeah,
to a
yeah,
great
yeah.
extent, and people don't want to indulge themselves in any kind of complex art.
Yeah.
They just want to easily comprehend what is happening, and that is not possible with any classical art form.
Yeah.
For some people, they just don't understand Bharatanatyam because it is so grammatical, there's so much technicality behind it. And same way, Carnatic music, there is a pocket of, you know, crowd that is
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to understand the art.
Yeah.
So, after a point, beyond 25-30 minutes, it gets boring for any you know,
layman,
person,
probably.
layman, yeah. So, I thought some way or the other, we'll have to pull them towards this, towards music, towards
Nice.
yeah. So I thought, let me include a few peppy numbers, because generally Namavalis are peppy. They have a grooving rhythm to
Groove,
it. So people
yeah.
want to groove. So and it has to be repetitive so that they can also, you know, follow along with us. We can engage them. They don't have to just simply sit and watch. So these were the reasons why I started incorporating few songs, you know, like bhajans,
Wow.
like you know, Dasara Pada, you know, like
Wow.
Purandara Dasaru, Kanaka Dasaru. There are so many Dasara Padas. So all these are already part of the Nama Sankirtana Paddhati. As we say, Purandara Dasa Sangita Pitamaha,
Correct.
but all he did was Nama Sankirtane,
Correct.
right? So it was all one back then.
Yeah.
So today we have the bifurcation that this is different, that is different, Anta, but it is not. So I want to bring all of it together. So I thought I'll do this through the Facebook lives that I did. It was a hit.
Hmm.
I didn't expect it at all. So people wanted to do this a lot. At some point, the views in the video mattered more than what is happening in the video actually.
Not at some point. Even today.
Even now.
Even to this conversation.
Oh.
Just kidding.
I really hope.
No, it doesn't
So,
matter to me or my show.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But and as in when people realize that okay, this type of concert is gaining more traction, more views, they started calling me more and more. And this is how it increased. Every week I was singing for almost 3-4
Wow.
Facebook concerts. Yeah, initially it was wow, but then it started you know,
Eventually.
getting to me. I was like, now what do I sing? Something new I'll have to keep giving. And honestly, the pandemic time was a tapasya time for me,
Hmm.
because I sat and learnt hundreds of songs during that time. It increased my repertoire like no man's business.
Wow.
So that was when life changed.
But after this COVID, so when things became normal, so when was your first ever concert?
Yeah. So my first concert happened in Hanumantapura. It's a small village in Tamil Nadu near Chidambaram. There is a Raghavendra Swami Brindavana there.
Shabash.
And my first concert happened right in front of him. He was the only audience I had. Rest of them were behind me. So usually we have the audience in front of
Correct,
us.
yeah.
But here he was the audience. My guru, starting from my guru, everybody else was behind me.
Wow. I mean, how
So-
come, like, it looked very...
Yeah, it was surreal.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that because I'm a very ardent devotee of Rayaru, and he has done unbelievable miracles. So I was so glad that my music journey started right in front of him.
Wow.
And I'm forever grateful to Rayaru for bringing me wherever I am. Like if we are having a conversation here today, and I've come here as a musician, I give the entire credit to him.
That's why you're
So,
having a conversation
with
with Mayura Raj and
Raghavendra. Yeah.
No, but definitely jokes apart. Even people know about it. Like even I'm a
Yeah.
big devotee of Rayaru because I know the kind of miracles, the kind of stories. More than hearing to these stories, people until and unless they experience.
Yeah.
So I think everything bogs down to the experience. Whatever we speak, when we hear certain things, until and unless we experience one thing,
True.
we won't get to know, we won't understand the depth of what the other person is saying. Like what you are saying. So people, like even me, if I was not a devotee of Rayaru, if I was just, I believe in God. So if I was just a kind of person, no, I would have said, ha, nice. That is the
Yeah.
kind of reaction I would have given to you. But each and every word what you are trying to
Yes.
you're saying out here, I'm able to reciprocate or
You
I'm
can
able to
relate to
resonate.
it. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's the why, because I have experienced myself. So naturally, the kind of people who are watching over here also,
Absolutely.
they would have experienced it. That is why, as in time, every year the number of devotees for Rayaru are
Multifold
growing.
it increases. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And every single one of them has had a personal experience with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, that's the beauty. When they talk about him, nobody will say, like, nobody will put him on a pedestal in such a way that, like, for instance, we say Shiva or Ganesha, like someone who is like very far.
Yeah.
We don't know, like, but Rayaru, they say, he's there right next to me, man.
Yeah.
So we
And
feel
he
like
talks to us.
he talks to you. Wow.
That's a goosebump moment. Yeah.
So now, let's talk about, since you said the first concert Hanumantapura you did actually. So it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
So probably I'm sure you wouldn't have kept a count of how many concerts I have, or do you have any?
Not exact count, but easily around 200, 250
Wow.
concerts. Imagine in just 4 years.
Yeah.
And when I just started singing, when I just started giving public performances, if somebody is able to do around 250 concerts in a span of just
4 years.
4 years,
That's too much.
I can't I can't take credit for it at all.
So
That's
it's
why I
basically
always
if I divide it into mathematically, if I divide it into, so 48 months roughly or 50 months, 250 concerts. So it's like 5 concerts in a month on an average.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Insane, yeah. And it's a blessing that not everybody is given, and
Yeah.
I'm forever grateful for that.
I think usually in your concerts, you're known as a person who come across as a very vibrant, ಅಥವಾ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಒಂಥರ, what do you call, very, I don't want to use the word loud. Basically, you're someone who gets connect to you instantly. The kind of aura you create in a concert. Most of the people, they say that, and most of the people who have attended your concerts, including me. So I feel like instantly the kind of voice when you sing, when you the first shadja shuru ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಹಾಡಿದಾಗ ಸಾಪಾಸ ಹಾಡ್ದಾಗ್ಲೇನೆ the way you captivate the audience ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, that also, is it like, do you really feel, is it because of the constant practice you have been reached to this stage, or there is a kind of what do you call a kind of a divine energy which is there in you?
It is both. It is definitely both. Here, I would like to remember something that both my gurus have
Okay.
told me, gurus for Carnatic and Hindustani music, have told me that Shadja is the Adhara Swara.
Correct.
As long as we try to practice that Shadja every day.
Okay.
In fact, I was asked to practice just Shadja for 2 hours, 2.5 hours every day.
ಫಾರ್ ದ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಲೇಮನ್ ಷಡ್ಜ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಈಗ ಸರಿಗಮ ಪದನಿ 7 ಸಪ್ತ ಸ್ವರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸರಿಗಮ ಪದನಿ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮೇಲಿನ ಸ್ಥಾಯಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾ ಹಿಡಿತೀರಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ ಷಡ್ಜ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮೀ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ರಾಂಗ್.
Yeah. So so my dad also used to say that the lower sa
Yeah.
that we have, it is a given.
Yeah.
But the male sthai sa that we have, it is sukshma.
Ah.
So the sadhana that we do from sa to ni
Hmm.
helps us reach that sukshma. It is entirely divine. And I would like to stress on the fact here that you cannot separate divinity from music.
Wow.
You cannot. So the sadhana that we do, we start practicing from sa, the lower sa,
Yeah.
and then go sa re ga ma pa dha ni until that. It is very easy to sing that. It is in our control. But the sa beyond that is not in our control.
Correct.
It can slip, it can go anywhere. You know, in Tamil we say kalavari udu. You know, it literally, it trips you. It you just don't know. You can't see it coming at all. And sustaining in that sa is Bhagavat Anugraha. So, as we practice every note, the throw comes, the surrender comes. So, when we reach that note, it is surrender. All the namavalis that I sing will start from that sa. Because we have sung the song,
Ooh.
yeah, it starts from there. So, if I, for example, if I sing an abhanga, any abhanga for that matter, Sukha che je sukha Chandra bhage tati Pundalika pathi ubhe thake Sukha che je sukha Vithala Vithala jai jai Vithala. It starts from there.
Wow.
So, what the idea is to take it from here, move towards the deity, and finally surrender. So, when that surrender really happens inside, it connects with the audience. They also start feeling it. And dance has really helped me for this. Because it is an art form entirely dedicated to evoke an emotion in the audience.
But tell me one thing. I'm sure there will be few days wherein you won't be able to be in that mindset.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
we are humans at the end of the
Yeah.
day. So I'm trying to understand. That is why to attain to that position or to that place, sadhana is very important. That is
Yeah.
what people say that, and it is true. Sadhana means it doesn't happen overnight. Today I'll think, and tomorrow I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
No, it is a consistent thing which it takes days, number of days, months, years to reach to at least 10% of what we believe.
Yeah.
To reach to that 10% also, it requires that enormous amount of time, we know. But having said that, we would have reached, but there are days, I'm sure, as a musician, as a
Absolutely.
performer.
Absolutely.
So I'm just trying to analyze, I'm just trying to understand from your point of view. On those days, how do you balance between this, in the sense, how will you be able to be yourself as a performer, but still reach to that position?
It's a very difficult question to answer because, like you say, I've had days where, you know, there have been traumatic experiences. You just want to let everything go and leave somewhere, escape. I've had days when I didn't want to do anything. I've had days on the day of concerts when I will just not want to do that concert. So there have been so many days, but it's a commitment.
Correct.
You've given it. I will be cribbing and crying until I get on stage. Only my parents know
Yeah.
what happens behind the
Behind the
stage.
scenes.
Because as an artist, mental space, physical capacity, everything is required for a concert to come out so well. And naturally, it is not going to be the same all days. And when I'm mentally not okay, when I've, you know, there might have been fights even at home. It might ruin our, mindset and everything. But one thing that has stayed constant is the 5th second after I start singing, I forget everything else.
That has happened every time.
Every single time. There has been not one exception to it. There have been days when I have had vocal cord inflammation, which keeps recurring for me because of the sheer energy that I have to give, the loudness during Nama Sankirtana and everything. I'm sure you have seen how it has to come from here,
Nabhi in the.
from here, from the nabhi, and it is definitely a strain on the vocal cords. And there have been so many days when I have told my parents, my voice will just not cooperate today. We can't do this concert. But they have ensured that I will still go up on stage, because they know that, after the first few seconds of, because I start with Nama, I start with Rama, 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 I start with that. And then I go with the, start with a very mellow Namavali and then take it into a gradation and go. By the time I cross the Madhyasthai and go up, I would have forgotten everything else. And this will not happen if whatever accolades we get, whatever praise people do on our face, do to our face, whatever any kind of appreciation that we get, if it gets to our head, that is not possible. Music will not happen there. Unless and until we surrender to that music. At the moment we get on stage, I always tell myself, I am not going to sing. This problem, this mindset issue that I have, everything is associated with me. But the music that is going to happen on stage is not associated with me. It comes from there. So the moment I shift the responsibility to him. Avlada. Ashtene.
No, but the whole thought process of surrendering to him.
It is an anugraha. It is not everybody can do it. It is an anugraha. And I'm so glad that I have been blessed with it. It is again his, decision to choose who gets that anugraha. It's not in
and
our
also
hands.
see, saying is different and actually following it is different. See, for example, I might say that yes, surrender to him. But that internal antarika shuddhi, we say, no? The internal cleansing, what happens? I think that's a different process. I mean, I know I'm too digressing to the...
There is even a very popular Uga Bhoga that says, Manashuddhi illadavagi mantrada phalavenu. So,
how musical you say that? No, I'm too greedy for that.
Manashuddhi illadavage mantrada phalavenu. Tanu shuddhi illadavage ತೀರ್ಥದ ಫಲವೇನು. Beautiful two lines that I always keep singing to myself, because if the shuddhi is again his doing. We can only try. But the result, we'll have to leave it only to him. So I honestly feel the surrender that we do is again in his hands. Again, I'll have to, it's sad that I'll have to go back to a Tamil saying, Avan arulale avan tal vanangi. So it means we can surrender to him only if he have his blessing. It is not possible. It is not a voluntary action that we can do. We can think we'll have to surrender anta. It doesn't happen.
Are you a ritualistic person?
Not very ritualistic. I simple lighting lamp and all I do every day. I do Shiva Puja, but it is a very simple process. It's not the, no adambara, nothing, not this after this after this, not that kind of a ritualistic person. I have a very simple Shiva Puja that I do. That's all. Yeah.
If you ever have to state, or like if you have to just share one miraculous experience wherein you have experience with respect to the Almighty ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ?
Every day is one.
Okay.
But if I have to share one experience, it is again with Rayuru.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
So
all the more ears are open.
Yeah. So every time I close my eyes, if there's something very something difficult that I'll have to cross, something I don't want to do, but I'll have to encounter it. So these are the few times when I just close my eyes and I just say, I call him Tata. Okay, so I just say, Tata, please help me. And then it's just gone miraculously. I'll get a phone call saying it's not going to happen. I'll get a phone call saying you don't have to do this, you're expected to do something else. This one time what happened was, I was in Mantralaya, and this was during his Jayanti celebrations. We go as a huge group, do a Nadahara, do musical offering to him. And one time when I went there, I had fallen very sick. I was not in a position to go with the group and take darshan or anything. I was very sick, and my mom was so like, she was worried that this girl is not able to get up and we can't go for darshan. She also stayed with me in the room. People started, because as a musician they expect you to be there and do the offering, right? Everybody starts questioning, oh, where is she? No, she's not here. And it became a huge scene that I was not there. I had prioritized my health over going and seeing Rayaru. All this had happened, but I knew the strain because it was a long queue. We had to wait and then go through the side and take darshana. It is a process, and it was so hot. in Mantralaya at the time. Insanely hot for a Chennite. Imagine the heat. So it was so hot, and I was not in a position at all. But somehow I convinced my father that I will not be able to come, and he left. And then I said, if we stay in the room, people will be coming again and asking us to go again. No, you have to come, and something they'll be saying. So let us go off on the opposite side, sit somewhere under some shade. That's it, over. Nobody will be able to find us at least. And then we got out, and then we walked in the opposite direction towards exit of Mantralaya. We started walking towards that side and went and tried to stay away from these people. But as and when we as we progressed, there was a chain seller, some necklace seller, people keep selling something or the other. There was that guy, and then he came. Why are you coming this way? You'll have to go on the opposite direction. Go. You'll have to take darshan. I said, yeah, we already took darshan, and we went in the opposite direction again. And it was not just sick. There were reasons why I could not go to the temple. Okay.
Understood.
Yeah, and I could not give explanations to everybody. So, it was not possible. And then I kept going in the opposite direction. Another chain seller came. He said, why are you going in the opposite direction? You have to go take darshana. And then I told Amma, this is not happening. Let us go back to the room itself. And then we again went back. And the entire group who was supposed to be inside the temple by then already, they were walking towards us on the road. And then I told them, why are you here? You're supposed to be there. And then we heard that you're sick and everything. You will have to come now. What is this, falling sick, fever and all? It will happen all the time. Rayaru Darshana happens only one time. That was the first trip to Mantralaya I had.
Oh, wow.
On the day one, I had told my father, it just looks like a very commercial space. I don't feel any bhakti here. I don't feel any vibration. Usually, the moment I enter a temple, the moment
you feel the
water sanidhya.
Yeah.
I told my dad, I don't know if I told, fortunately or unfortunately, I had uttered the words to him saying, I don't feel anything. It's very commercial for me. Then he said, we're going to stay here for 3 days, no?
Let's see.
That's all he had told. This was the third day.
Oh.
Okay.
Till third day, you had not felt the connection at all.
No. I had told this on the first day.
Okay.
This happening, me falling sick and
Second,
all of this
on
happening is on the third day. And I asked my mom, is it because I told, that there is no vibration, I don't feel any bhakti here? Is that why I'm not able to go and take darshana of Rayaru today? It so happened that, it's like this. And then she said, no divine force will push their bhakta away like that. If at all they feel there is no vibration or bhakti, they will ensure they start feeling that bhakti and they'll pull them closer. She said, I said, okay, I feel assured now. And then we kept walking, and then they said, we don't know you're coming with us now inside. Then I looked at my mom. I didn't know what to do.
Chalo.
Chalo, go. No problem. So I went. Just as I was about to step inside, I was so scared. Because, there are a few things
Few
we
things
follow.
which we,
We are very strict in following a few things, and I didn't want to do anything else there. But what to do? I can't explain to so many people. We had to go back in the same train together. All that will be an issue. So I thought, okay, fine. If he is so adamant and wants me to come inside, go. So the moment I'm used to saying Arunachala for everything. Okay, that has been the, like if I sneeze, I say Arunachala. Instead of excuse me, I say Arunachala. So that's how it is. I've grown up saying
I say
that.
Deva, in fact. See.
So everything is Arunachala for me. And the moment I stepped inside, I closed my eyes and said Arunachala and went in. Please, you take care. The moment I closed my eyes, I saw Rayaru in front of the Brindavana. I had not even gone to the Sannidhi yet. But I saw the Brindavana, I saw Rayaru breathing, just bones and skin. Not like how we usually see in the pictures, all pushti, they put him, no. It was not like that. He was just bones and skin with a unkempt beard and everything, eyes half closed, breathing heavily, deep long breaths in such a, it was like yoga nidra. He was in yoga nidra. The moment I closed my eyes, I got this darshana, and then I went inside. After the queue, the Achar called me in, gave me the plate, asked me to do Aarti, and he was wearing just one plain red vastra that day. There was no alankara, nothing else, Nirmalya Darshana. There was just one red panche that he was wearing. And then I was taking Aarti inside the Garbhagraha of, Rayaru. And then I came out. Then my dad said, third day over. Now what do you say? I was mind blown. I was mind blown because nobody gets darshana like that. He's a Jiva Samadhi there.
Yeah.
And when you are blessed with you just close your eyes and you just see him right there. It is not some space where you just say there is no bhakti, there it's also commercial, and then you experience something like this. Tears were rolling down my eyes, and then he made me understand that these trivial practices that we follow are not for me. To me, everybody is the same. Whatever you're going through, you just come and see me and go. So that was the most miraculous experience I ever had. I came back and immediately painted whatever I had seen, and I've put it off in my house, right in front of whoever enters first, they will see that painting.
Can you send a photo of that one so that I can show it to the people?
Oh, definitely. I'll find it and send. It's a little old because it was the first time when I went, but I'll definitely share it with you. Definitely.
Wow. I was just able to just imagine or visualize exactly how the scenes would have happened.
Yeah.
Almost like twice or thrice a year I visit Mantralaya. So since I know the exact topography of the whole place.
Yeah.
So when you're saying like when I'm coming from the exit, how you would have gone, how you would have entered, and what would have happened, of course, just added to the touch of a filmmaker's point of view also.
Yeah.
The visual, the whole screenplay. So,
Right.
This is not just a Rayar episode we have been trying to do.
I know, yeah. It so happens that, oh God, whenever, because it's all him. It's
And
all him, yeah.
whenever we have met, we have never shared about this actually.
Yeah, this is the first
This
time.
is the
It so
first time.
happened, it's
Yeah,
the
it
first
so
time
happened.
sharing, yeah.
Though we have met many a times, we have never spoken about Rayaru so much.
Yeah.
Though she has just shared saying like, yeah, I'm a Rayaru devotee and even I'm Rayaru devotee. So nice. It's like I said, these are the kind of experiences, surreal experiences, when you really feel or when you experience it, then you will be able to know the exact value of what we are talking or like what you would have witnessed through your own eyes. I'm glad. Okay, so after Rayaru, when did A.R. Rahman came into your life?
That was a crazy episode.
Yeah.
So, who expects ARR verified to start following you
Yeah,
on
I'm
Instagram.
like, yeah.
So that was a shocker for me. Generally I keep missing messages on Instagram, on everything. Like I see after a while and then I overlook messages, all that happens. I had gotten a message from a friend saying,
Okay.
am I seeing what I'm seeing? And then I didn't know what she meant. I was like, what is it? And then she sent a screenshot of people who follow me.
Okay.
And there was ARR verified in it.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, dude, what? Are these my followers?
Yeah.
And then I instantly go check. And then I see that he has started following me like a couple of hours ago. And then I go back to check if it's a parody account, if somebody has put that verified next to their
Verified,
name.
yeah.
I know some people
Possibility.
do this.
Yeah.
And then I try to check, verify all this, and then I'm mind blown again. I'm like, oh God, ARR is following me. And then I see how many people he is following.
Following. Okay.
Okay, and then few other friends. I mean, I shared it on my story and then say that this is the scene now. Can you believe this? I can't believe my eyes. I shared it on my story, and then a few other friends started messaging me saying, "Oh my God, you're one of the privileged 130 people." At that time, it was just 130 people he was following, and I was like, "Oh God."
And you messaged him, huh?
No, I didn't do anything. I just left because, there was one very embarrassing thing. I started following him after that.
Wow.
It was
Look
so
at this.
embarrassing. I was like, should I do? Because after you start following somebody, when they follow you,
So
you
I
get it
think
in
for
the
the
first
first
thing.
time, ARR would have experienced like follow back, the option.
Yeah. I felt so.
Wow.
I didn't know if I had to press follow back also because, he'll get a notification and I didn't want it to be all embarrassing. And I was completely cut off from film, music, movies. I had absolutely no clue.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
He's the kind of person who would appreciate that only. Yeah.
It happened. It
Yeah.
happened. Yeah. I got to know that much later though.
Yeah.
So I didn't know I was not following many
And you
playback
followed-
singers.
you followed
I
back.
immediately followed back. I was hoping he doesn't see the notification that I followed him only then. And a couple of days later, when I was checking the message requests, I had gotten a message from one of the people in his studio saying,
Okay.
ARR sir wants to meet you, speak with you. When are you in Chennai? And then I was in Chennai then, so I thought, okay, I told my parents, I've got a message from ARR studio that they want to meet me. And then ask them what. I usually go back to my parents, tell I've got a message from this, all this typical, very jhane,
Orthodox, conservative.
yeah, typical. Everything I'll go and ask to my
Report to my
parents.
parents.
Yeah, but ask them permission and then only do. So I asked them and then they said, ask him what it is. And then they said, come tomorrow. With ARR sir, everything is today, now, in a few hours, tomorrow. There is no that day, this day, when are you free? There's no
Nothing.
question of that.
Instant.
Are you in Chennai now? There's a recording. This is how messages come. So it was a very different experience. And so he said, come tomorrow. I said, okay, sure. And I took my dad also with me.
Wow.
Because my father had played in the same band with Rahman sir before he became Rahman.
Oh.
So, before...
that old connection.
Old,
yeah.
As a band, they did some fusion music and all that. So, I knew they had some connect. So, I took my father also. And they were talking about that also. He remembered.
Oh, wow.
He also said, yeah, he was there. He played the keyboard. This guy was there. All that he remembered and they were sharing it. And then he asked me... he appreciated, he said he had subscribed to my YouTube channel and appreciated my work.
Wow.
Gone. I was floored. I was
Wow.
like, wow, yeah, that was me. I was like, my eyes opened wide and I was like, wow, are you kidding me?
It's like the dancer giving an adbhuta expression.
Yeah, and then he said, but for some reason, funnily enough, he thought I was a Kannadiga.
How?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. And he also didn't know that for a long time.
That you were a Tamilian.
Yeah.
Okay.
He thought I was a Kannadiga and I didn't know he had thought I was a Kannadiga.
Okay.
So he had been discussing and he was like, I am, I just appreciate how, dedicated you are in what you're doing and your channel, how you're contributing to music and then everything. And then he asks me, will you be interested to sing a song for Ponniyin Selvan? Like, who asks such things?
Would you be interested?
He asked, would you be, only if you're interested. Like,
Wow.
of course. Of
Wow.
course, yeah.
But look at the humility
Yeah.
of that man.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
asking, saying, like, would you be interested? When so many people, like you say, like
Yeah,
if they
I'm
say,
dying to,
yeah.
get an opportunity to sing and everything. And I'm here cluelessly, sitting. And then he asks, would you be interested to sing? I was floored that day, with that question. And I was like, of course, sir. Yes, definitely. I would love to sing. Then he said, yeah. So I will call you whenever there's a
Recording.
recording happening. I'll call you. Yeah, sure. So I said, yeah, okay, definitely. And then we had a good chat after that about music, about various artists, how they've all, how they were before, how they've bloomed today, how they've
And very to the
grown
point,
in
I guess, right?
Huh?
The way he talks, very to the point.
Very to the point. And at no point did I feel that there was an air that I'm so and so, I'm a music composer, I'm a music director,
Yeah.
I'm award-winning music director.
Yep.
He,
think he makes-
he looks at everyone just the same
And he
way.
makes you at ease, I guess.
Yeah, from the moment you meet him,
Hmm.
he just makes you comfortable to talk to him.
Yeah.
Generally you have those jitters and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
meeting
yeah.
someone so big, it's a huge thing. And then he instantly makes you feel, hey, come sit. How are you? Like you
Just
know
in
each
my-
other for such a
in my-
long time.
I think in my lifetime, just once, probably with the close vicinity, probably about on 50 to 60 meters away, I've just seen him. I didn't have the courage to go and speak to him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, when the whole that vibe or that aura is more than enough to me. I'm like, okay, that's it. From the back, there were so many people. They were like mobbing him. They were asking for a photograph. I'm like, the day when I meet him, when he gives the photo, he should remember me.
Yeah.
I'm like still like a child. I'm like, yeah. So very few people whom I admire the most, like they say, like the idols whom you really worship. Like one is Ilayaraja sir, one is A.R. Rahman and all. Fortunately, I have got 2 times or like 2 opportunities to meet Ilayaraja sir. One, have an interaction with him like this. So that was something else that like I will cherish forever. But when I saw Rahman sir for the first time, I'm like, okay, it was in an IFA award. I'm like, okay, this distance, this proximity is more than enough to
Yeah.
me to just feel the vibe. So when I get to over there, it becomes very difficult, right? Like I said, after A.R. Rahman sir, always I used to think about Shreya Ghoshal like that. I took 3 times. Third occasion, I think I had the courage to say hi to her.
Wow.
So the very first 2 occasions, I was like totally speechless. Like when you meet her, the kind of aura, the kind of thing, what she carries herself, no?
It's the power of their sadhana.
Exactly, that's
Yeah,
the whole thing. When
that's
you
it.
see, it's only, I'm like, okay, I'm with Shreya Ghoshal, that's it. So the third time I felt like, yes, now I need to have an interaction with her, I need to interview. But even otherwise, I know to my potential, I could have done the best. So, but still, anyway, so let's not digress.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah, so instantly he made us feel comfortable. He was talking about a lot of things and discussing. And then he just asked me this. I said, okay, chalo, we'll do that. So, though he made me feel comfortable, it's the first time you're seeing somebody like that up close.
up close.
So, my mind was not functioning at all. I forgot to take a photo. Like, I generally don't remember
Yeah,
to
yeah.
click pictures or something. I'm just in the moment all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not that person who keeps taking selfies or
Yeah.
anything. But certain occasions like this demand, But
course.
I had forgotten.
Definitely, yeah.
When we were going to leave, he asked, do you want a picture? And then I looked at my dad. I'm like, oh God. I didn't even remember to take a photo. Want a selfie? Come, let's take. And he took the selfie in my phone.
Do you have the photograph?
Yeah, I do.
Let's
I do.
post this.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I do. So embarrassed I felt. I'm like, I didn't even remember to take a photo of such a special occasion, and you meet him in person. And then I just wanted to just exit and exit from the embarrassment more than anything else. So that was the first experience, and then eventually the recordings happened, and he called. At that time I was traveling, and then they said, yeah, sure, when you come back, when you come to Chennai, we'll do the recording. And then I didn't know for what was the song. No idea. I just went, and then they gave me a script, and it was in Kannada.
Wow.
I mean, I could read Kannada very slowly because, you know, I did a Dasarapada series and I had learned
Oh, they
the
had
script.
written in Kannada only.
Yeah, the script itself was in Kannada.
Fantastic.
Okay, because they had thought I was a Kannadiga
Kannadiga.
for some reason.
Yeah.
And then I saw
So
that.
then you
and
told
I
them
tried. No, I didn't tell them because I was scared. So I tried to read it somehow very slowly. Let me familiarize the words, and I thought I'll read and with a pencil mark it in Tamil or something so that I don't, you know, mess with the. But I can read Kannada because I, you know, learnt it for the Dasarapada
Wow.
series that I had done on YouTube. Because it is more easier. With Tamil, we don't have Mahaprana, Alpaprana and all.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll have to depend on 1, 2, 3, 4 and all for.
This itself ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಓದೋದನ್ನ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು
ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್
ಲೈಕ್
ಅಪ್ರಿಶಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ?
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅರಿವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ
ಐ ನೋ
ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So I learnt the script, so I was able to, you know, somehow slowly read. But by the time they had turned and said, shall we do? I'm like,
Was AR there also to record?
No, on the first day of
First day.
recording,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wasn't
you
there.
told.
Later, he had come for another song. But for this song, he was not there. So I had just gone through 4 lines, and then instantly they were like, okay, shall we go? And then they played the track. So I was able to follow. And the track was in Tamil. Okay, they had played the Tamil track. I had to listen to the tune and sing that in Kannada.
And the funny part to all the people, so the song which she sang, so she is a Tamilian who they made her to sing Kannada version.
Yeah.
And the Tamil version was sung by Rakshita Suresh, who was a Kannadiga.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very funny.
After the movie got released, and again I went and met him in studio. And then this conversation happened, and he said, "Ninga Tamila?" I thought you were a Kannadiga. And then she was also there, and then this conversation happened, and we had a good laugh about it. Ayyo, I could have done a swap. I don't know why I made you both sing like this. This was a good joke after the movie got
After the movie
released.
release. Which was the song? For
Yeah,
the-
so this was the song Hele Neenu, Sol in Tamil. It was a very different genre for me because
How does it go?
Hele Neenu, Yare Avanu, Bhari Cheluvanu, Churu Marulanu, Mahadhira Nenu, Matugara Nenu, Yellinu Mahanu. I don't remember the words exactly, but this is how the song goes.
It sounds like the rhythm, the groove is like some water.
Oh yeah.
Correct, no?
So it was such intelligent music done to it. Like there was no rhythm added. The background water, no sound, was the rhythm to the song. It was just the water that was the rhythm to the sound. It was beautifully done.
Yeah.
Beautifully done. I mean, of course, we sing on click, but when the whole output comes,
Oh,
I was mind blown.
while singing, there was no rhythm at all.
Yeah, it was just, you know, basic rhythm was there. Some click was given. We sing in clicks. But after the output, like you hear the output much later. So you just sing and come off.
That's why I remember the minute when you sang this, because I've heard the
Yeah.
Tamil version.
Yeah,
So that water, the groove is just the sound of the water.
yeah.
Very nice.
So it was the first recording, the first song that I'm doing for a film. Literally the first song. This is the first song.
Wow.
I've never sung in films before. And
First ball is 6 guru.
yeah.
First
Yeah,
ball is R.
everybody
Rahman.
said that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, debuting with a Rahman song is again Anugraha only.
Again, Anugrahane.
Yeah. So, and it was very different the way the recording happened, because generally I've sung for dance recordings, for, you know, usual music recordings, they happen very differently. But a film recording is an entire different experience. like the approach itself is different to music. And there was something that I had to do with the song, which I did not understand initially. Two things. One was the bhav was completely different. It was a song that, expresses like teasing the friend, something like that. And I had to bring that in my voice. It was insanely difficult because I did not understand what I had to do.
Yeah.
So they're asking me to smile when I sing.
Wow.
And it was new. Okay, it was so new. And I said, I'm smiling. No, your voice should smile. Whoa. It was like, whoa.
The genius,
Okay.
the genius SPB sir. It reminds
Yeah.
of like.
The voice would smile. It would, it would do everything. It would, my God. So they asked me to do it. And then, my God, I took 4 hours to finish the song.
Ooh.
4 hours. But
But did the smile came like?
finally, I was not happy with it.
Okay.
Because you generally are never happy with your own. I can't listen to my own music, by the way. I can't
I
play
think
it
that
and
happens
tolerate
with
it.
every one of us.
Yeah.
Like, I can't watch my own podcast or I can't
True.
watch my own shows. It's like, that's why I just send it to someone else. It's like, please,
Yeah.
the third man perspective is always better. I can't listen to my own voice.
Yeah, and when people play my music or something and in my presence, I get so awkward. I can't stay there, so I can't
Yeah.
tolerate my
Yeah.
voice or music.
Yeah.
So that I couldn't hear for more than one or two times. But there was another thing I had to do with my voice. Hele neenu. That no had to go up.
Oh.
But I didn't understand. I thought I was singing it. And it was not happening. They kept telling me, no, it has to go further up. Hele neenu, it has to go up there. But I didn't understand what it was. I was just singing Hele neenu, I'm singing. But it goes only till pa. It has to go till the higher sa.
Wow.
Whoa, it was, and I figured an entire new dimension, that day.
Playback singing.
Whoa, it was, and it is not easy. I mean, we hear people say that it is light music, it is very easy music, film music, it is just film music. There are so many people who say things like this, but until and unless
glad
you're
that
there,
you're you're saying this and you're verifying it. I always say that, with all due respect,
yeah,
every art form is, I don't say difficult, is unique in its own way.
100%.
Like, be it film music or be it films or be it Carnatic music, be it Hindustani music, be it light music, be it Sugama Sangita, be it folk music, or be it Dasa Sahitya, whatever you said and done. Every art form is unique in its own way. It has its own challenge and it is not easy the way it looks or sounds.
Yeah, and for some reason there's a taboo.
Yeah, for some reason there is a taboo. I don't know why every
It
time.
is the same music.
I do have lot of friends. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm not blaming them or anything. Whenever we have had the casual conversations, I've heard it saying like they have the taboo, or they in general, they don't demean the music, but the way they look at this music,
It's like a condescending
it's like-
attitude. Oh, film music.
but they cannot do it. They cannot sing.
It's
On a
very
hypothetical, if
difficult.
I say, okay, pick one film song, like one A.R.R. sir or one Ilayaraja sir song, and just sing it the way exactly it is,
It
and also
is very
sticking to the
difficult.
same notes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if there is this line belongs to this much ishte chaukattu, within this boundary you have to sing, and it is not easy. It is just like playing a cricket within a boundary.
True.
Correct
True,
alva?
yeah.
Very boundary hakputtu, you have only this much limited space and you have to
Yeah.
play, you have to ensure the ball doesn't go out of the boundary anta. That is the beauty of a playback singing, and of course equally that is the beauty of a classical music. Of course, either vice versa.
The thing is, like I said before, for Carnatic and Nama Sankirtane,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
there is an invisible bifurcation that has happened.
Yep.
Like, people have just drawn a line,
Yeah.
but you cannot draw. It is the same ragas that I'm singing,
Yeah.
same vocal cords I'm using,
Yeah.
same set of languages that I sing in, be it Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Hindi, Marathi, Odia, the same languages.
Yeah.
How is it different? I'm putting in the same effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I sing a film number, I will have to put in the same effort to sing that. Same
100%.
harkats are there.
Yeah.
There are minute brigas. There are gamakas. There are everything you find here. You find here also,
Yeah.
and you find the bhav also.
Yeah.
And see, there's one major reason why people look down on film music. It is because they just shove it aside as romantic songs.
Yeah.
Don't we have romantic songs
I
in
think
Carnatic
it's
music?
more or less with the lyrics rather than the music.
Yeah, that's the problem. That is their problem. The lyrics is not something that you will have to be, singing. It is a taboo. So we have padams and javalis. We have so many, in layman terms, romantic classical songs.
Yeah.
All these are based on nayaka, nayaki bhava.
Yeah.
So when we sing a padam javali, so when we sing, in fact, something like Saramaina Matalento Chalu Chalu Rasami Saramaina Matalento Chalu Chalu Ra. So it's like a heroine talking to her hero, saying, "Oh, you spent the night with that girl, and you've come here to me now. Chalu chalu ra." You're trying to speak and bring me into a trap. You're trying to evade whatever you did. Enough of your drama.
In that way, many a times I have had this observation probably. Just observe in a Carnatic classical concert, okay? First of all, I'm not here to offend anyone. I'm just disclaimer. So the process of a Carnatic concert, how it goes, like, okay, when you start from a Varna, one Ganapati Stuti, sub main item.
Yeah.
So ella bandu main item. So fullu raga, narval, kruti, swara, prastavane, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಮುಗಿಯುತ್ತೆ. ತನಿನೂ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದ ತನಿ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಓವರ್. ತನಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕಾನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ವಾದ್ಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ದ ಜುಗಲ್ ಬಂದಿ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ದ ತನಿ.
Is there a Kannada word for tani?
ನೋ, ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ವಿ ಸೇ ತನಿ.
Oh.
ತನಿ ಆವರ್ತನ.
Okay.
ತನಿ ಆವರ್ತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಯೂಶಲಿ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದೆಮ್ ದೇ ಗೆಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದಿ ಸಿಂಗಿಂಗ್ ದಾಸರ ಪದಗಳು ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಥರದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಲೈಕ್ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಜಗದೋದಾಹರಣ ಹಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಎನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್.
Yeah.
Instantly, most of the times, in my whatever 15-20 years of my experience as an audience, as a spectator, the kind of connection what audience, the kind of expressions what they give when they sing on the Jagadodarana haadtirಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ and then instantly they get connected to the
Music there.
music. No matter what, I have seen so many of my classical musician friends, in their concerts only, once the concert gets over, the people who comes there, they only talk like, ಏನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಜಗದೋದಾಹರಣ, ಅಥವಾ ಏನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸಮ್ ದಾಸರ ಪುರಂದರ ದಾಸರ ಕೃತಿನ ಇದನ್ನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ವೈ ಅಂತ ಐ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಆಸ್ ದೆಮ್. ಅಂದರೆ I know the musicalities, I know the kind of depth of knowledge what they demonstrate or what they get onto the table, agreed. But still, as a normal layman, what they get connected, ಅಂದರೆ ಭಾವಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂಥರ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ.
Yes.
ಅಂದರೆ ಸಂಗೀತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಗೀತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಭಾವಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಫೇಸನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸಂಗೀತನ ಕೊಟ್ಟುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಐ ಅಗ್ರಿ ಟು ದ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ the instant connection to the bhava when you sing, there are so many people I've seen, they're literally crying in the audience seat. Andre they get so emotional, they think of Krishna, they think of Rama, whomsoever it is, they think. But I always have this confusion saying like ontra bhavana athwa with sangeeta, the lekkacharagalu, whatever we say. I always feel like bhava plays a major role than this anta ansutte nanage. I don't know, what do you feel?
It's again a controversial but good question. But I am not going to hesitate to answer this very honestly. See, when you asked the question, you had mentioned they relate to bhava more than the actual sangeeta.
Correct.
Okay, and the first half of the concert is usually pure sangeeta.
Yeah.
The problem is that sangeeta doesn't have bhava. problem is not with the Sangeeta. It
Okay.
should be rendered with the same bhava that one sings Jagadodarana also.
Actually.
So, Jagadodarana is a very popular kriti.
No, I just gave an example. That's all.
If we take even a very rare, bhajan
Yeah.
or a lighter kriti that people say,
Yeah.
that's why it is pushed to tukda. It's called tukda, no? They are lighter pieces.
Yeah.
That's how it's called.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how Jagadodarana is lighter and one Rama Katha Sudha is heavier. Okay?
Wow.
Kapi is also a very heavy raga.
Yeah.
I can sing Rama Katha Sudha in a very light way
Yeah.
and sing Jagadodarana in a very heavy, ghana fashion.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So,
Actually, I will never imagine why they. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you got this. Okay.
So, it is just, if I sing, a raga alapana, say Madhyamavati, because I mentioned Rama Katha Sudana. Ra, 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 na, ra, ra, na, na. If I sing like this, it is just Sangeeta. It is just Madhyamavati. But when will the Sangeeta turn into an emotion?
Yeah.
Ra, na, ra, na. Ra, ra, re, ra, 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 na, na, ra, na. So, if the same raga is induced with bhava, they will come and say, what a Madhyamavati, instead of what a Jagadodarana. One
Very
more
nice.
thing is, people will not even understand what Kirtana is going on in the main. Rama Katha Sudha is one example. The first word itself starts with Rama. So instantly they'll say, they know it is on Rama. And eventually they will know it is written by Tyagaraja Swami. So they'll be like, they'll do all that. Some people are very knowledgeable who understand what is what. They will appreciate. That group is always there. But I am talking purely about the lay crowd that just comes for forgetting themselves in the music that is happening.
See, also, I'm sure even you agree to that. The majority, the larger group is that group,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Why always the target is to the lesser group than the larger group? It is, you know what? Shall I give an analogy to
Yeah.
it? It doesn't happen in the Carnatic field. I'm just trying to say, we do films for the audience or for the critics, we say. Okay, simple. So when the though audience might have loved the film, they would have really appreciated everything. And the critics definitely might not have agreed. Okay. Or every time I say all the blockbuster films who have made crazy collections and they have like the number of appreciation got from the people, no? Critics would have given a 2.5 or a 3-star rating film.
Correct.
And vice versa happens. A 4-star or a 4.5-star rating which is given by the critics, the audience would have not so appreciated well. But as a technician or as a musician, our mind runs that, I mean, not everyone, I say that, I'm not generalizing everyone, most of the people, we always think or we always try to impress the critics or that set of people than the larger number of the people.
True, that is one. And the
Yeah.
other, trying to impress is not just with complexity of an art.
Yeah, very beautifully said.
Yeah, so it has come down to that now. If it is to be called quality music, it should be complex music.
Yeah,
The lay crowd is not here for complex music.
yeah, they're not.
They admire gimmicks, no doubt.
Yeah, but
But if you're going to go entirely into it and just you can explore, but do it with bhava. You can do all kinds of complexities, but when it goes beyond a point, people do very very complex stuff that your body starts aching after a point when you're listening to that kind of music. It becomes too mathematical.
yeah,
There's other things for mathematics.
yep,
You can stop mathematics at a certain level in music and give music the actual credit.
absolutely.
So, the lesser the complexity, the more the lay crowd starts enjoying your music. It is because Jagadodarana is less complex for them to comprehend. And any language people can understand Jagado Dharana.
Yeah.
They know it is
Or Krishna ni begane baro.
Krishna ni begane baro. Even if we sing a very rare Dasara Pada in
Yeah, very
Kannada to a
desa.
Telugu crowd, to a Tamil crowd, or even to a Hindi crowd, I have seen comments on my channel videos that says somebody from Nepal, love from Nepal, kuch samajh nahi aaya, par acha laga.
Why? How?
So,
It's only because of the bhava.
So it is there. Why do we say music is a universal language? Why do we say everybody can communicate just through music? Just through Indian music we can communicate globally.
Wow.
So, but that needs some work. It is not possible to just sit and render something and expect them to connect to it. Rendition is not going to help. We'll have to evoke that bhava inside us first, and then it will transfer to them. This is where I told you previously that dance helped me. Whatever we danced, we had to understand the meaning of it and bring it out. So that helped me in this. So if we start a Carnatic concert with a Varna, like you said, we sing a Varna, then a Ganapati Stuti, then so people will be very interested to note down what raga the Varna is in.
Yeah.
They will write all that.
Yeah.
Then they will just want to make a list of songs and to see whether they can identify the raga. That is the maximum complexity level they have gone to now. The lay crowd.
My God.
That is the level they have gone to. But what level can we take them to?
You just spoke the truth. That's all.
Yeah. So it is the responsibility of the artist to not inform them what we are singing, but transform them to what we are singing.
I agree.
Right? I saw this very beautiful quote recently that education is not just information. It shouldn't inform you of facts. It should transform you with its facts.
Very beautiful.
And music is an education. People who come to listen, they should take back something from the concert.
Yeah.
So when you sing one Varna, nobody knows what Ninnu Kori Mohana Varna means.
Yeah.
There are great artists who might know the meaning themselves, but they have not done the job of explaining to the audience what that Ninnu Kori Varna means.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody processed which deity it is on.
I think I myself, as an example, I have taken so many years to reach to a position to get transformed like this. Okay. I mean, with all due respect, initially, the initial years of my exposure to the music, okay, I've always been into the understanding the complexity. I've tried my best. Okay. I need to understand the complexity. You see, the amount of pressure as a listener, as a spectator, why I'm using this line is the amount of pressure I had and as a listener also, because I need to understand the complexity. I'm not able to understand the complexity. So this is where I am lacking, or this is where the whole kind of battle was there within me as a spectator, if you have taken music as a serious medium, I'm telling you. If someone is like, no, I don't pay so much of attention, it is just a ongoing, or this is the background music, I just go and attend the concert, that's a whole different scenario. But if you're an ardent listener, and yes, this is the way I consume music, so I have undergone that whole phase of saying like, okay, I need to understand the complexity, I need to know, and I have put in efforts to understand. And the reason why I have tried learning music is also only to understand the complexity. But at one point I felt like, dude, what do you want to do? What do you really enjoy? Or where are you getting connected? The same bhava, I'm just telling you as an example, like when you sing, if you say Jagado Dharana, I might get, I might emote, or I might resonate, and I might really get into the trance. Similarly with someone Ilayaraja music also, I'll put both the music on the same pedestal and saying like, this is where I belong to.
True.
So when someone is singing Jagado, or be it, forget about Jagado Dharana, be it I'm telling someone is singing a main piece on a hypothetical situation. If they're performing in a Simendra Madhyama Raga with Raga, Naraval, Swara Prastapna, Tani antanu ankodana, I might have got emoted in the same way only like an Ilayaraja song also, or be it a Rahman song also, or be it someone on Ajneesh Loknath's music also. I'm just giving an example. Then I figured out, overall the spectrum is music, the bhava. Understand or try to connect yourself to the bhava. put yourself into that place wherein you will be, I think how beautifully this Kishori Amma had told, I had just read it somewhere. So she said, I used to converse with the swaras in my dreams, she used to say. I'm like, wow. I mean, somebody told me this, in fact. When at that point of time, I felt like, such a nice statement, that's all. I never got into the depth of what it actually meant. But later when I started saying like, okay, I might understand music a little better than a normal layman. I may not be a performer, but still then later I figured out saying like how beautifully she said she's conversing with the swaras. Andre, she is literally in that state of mind wherein she is actually like sadhana.
In direct communication.
Direct communication. Like they say, people say, I am in direct communication with the deities, I talk to them and tell. Exactly.
Correct.
She is seeing the deity in form of the swaras. Nothing but the same.
Same, it is the same. Until and unless the artist sees it that way,
Yeah.
it will not reach the
It
audience.
will not reach.
Yeah.
And not necessarily every spectator or every listener or every viewer should see in that way ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ. ನಾನೊಂದು peculiar case ಅಂತ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. But like me, there are so many people who will consider music as a consumable platform ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಡಿವೈನ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. That is why you will have so many people in your concerts. See, even though we know 10, ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ 10 ಕೃತಿಗಳನ್ನ ಸೇಮ್ ಕೃತಿಗಳನ್ನ ಒಂದು 10 ಕಾನ್ಸರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ ಹಾಡ್ಬೋದು. Okay, but still I would go to all the 10 concerts of that performer. Why? Because every concert there is a different takeaway.
Yes.
Because the musicality is different, the bhava is different, the lyric might be the same, the raga might be the same. This, over the period I understood, this is where I need to just consider about myself. This is the way I need to consume.
Yeah.
Be it Shivasri, today you are singing Simendra Madhyama if you sing, and tomorrow if some XYZ singer, ಎರಡು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೇಮ್ ಥರನೇ ಹಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಬೋತ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಮೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಲರ್ನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಗುರು ಆಲ್ಸೋ.
Yeah, same guru, same raga,
same raga, same
even same kala pramana and sangatis.
Everything. But the bhava,
entirely different experience.
The bhava, what you sing or then, I might get connected to you. ಅವಾಗ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು I should literally feel like ಅಂತರ ಅದೇನೋ ಅರೋಮಾದಲ್ಲೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಕಣಕಣದಲ್ಲೂ it is imbibed ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, that is when I feel like, yes, as a listener, as a spectator, as a viewer, I think I have enjoyed that ecstasy or like that level of music. I can consume it.
True.
I can connect or I can play with the musicians' music ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ, I've spoken too much anyway.
So when you say that, I remembered this joke from very long ago. My guru had told this to us in class. When he was teaching us, he had told that some other great vidwan had made fun of this another artist. They usually do this thing. So when he had told that, this artist had sung one of Tyagaraja kritis, one of his kritis, and took the Neravel in Kapivaridhi Datuna. Aparama bhakti endo gopara. That's a very popular kriti, and one of the charanas is Kapivaridhi Datuna, which literally means the monkey crossed the ocean. And he did Neravel in those lines. So it came and struck us like a spear coming and hitting your head. You can't just simply do Neravel in any line you want to.
Yeah.
The same way, there's a Narada Muni, same Pantuvaradi. Narada Muni vedalina sugunadishayamu vinare. So it is so beautifully tuned, but generally, I'm not talking about the greats or people who have done their own sadhana and come and with all due respect to artists who perform, generally the way people finish the raga and say Narada Muni vedalina suguna dishayamu vinare, Narada Muni vedalina suguna dishayamu vinare. This is rendition. Nobody understands what these two lines mean. But vinare is the key word there. Vinare. So it has been tuned in a questioning way. And that has to reach the people. Narada Muni Vedalina Sugunadishayamu Vinare. So the bhava has to be there. So people like Vinare, when it is like a question, it has to raise and it has to reach them. That is how the Sahitya has been tuned by that great Vagyakara, Tyagaraja Swami. And it has been passed on through Guru Shishya Parampara for ages. But the thing that has not been passed on was his bhava. The grammar has been passed on. The tala, the sahitya, everything has been passed on, but not the bhava. He was a Rama Upasaka, the most difficult upasana in the entire universe.
200%.
If he had to come up with such sahitya, imagine the level of bhakti that he must have been in.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot say it was, he just sat down and saw if the first word rhymed with the second word. No, it is not impossible to compose like that with the raga. Why was he a Vagyakar? He was not just a music composer. He was not a writer.
Yeah.
He was not a lyricist. He was a music composer. He was a Vagyakara because it came with the raga. Right? So, without the bhava, it is impossible. Unarguably, it came with the bhava. And it has to be transferred with that same bhava. And with all respects to my guru, he has taught me how to sing every single line, every single sahitya with that bhava. It is not important to sing loudly. It is not important to throw your voice. And, there needs to be, modulation when we sing. That also tries to bring out the bhava. And in this, one of the charanas is, Rajillina Shri Tyaga. There we can't do Neravel. Shri Tyaga, Shri Tyaga, Shri Tyaga, we can't do Neravel.
I think very funnily, I had experienced the same thing in one of the Pancharatna Kriti, and more than anything in Aradhne, like the third Kriti is Sadhinchane. So, Chitteswara ella Samayanikig barutte. So, we were about to begin. And one lady came and said, saying like, no, the Vagyakarara Tyagarajaru idನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷದವರೆಗೂ ಅದನ್ನ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಿ ಹಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ.
So
ಸಾಧಿಂಚಲೆ, not ಸಮಯಾನಿಕಿ. You know the amount of difficulty everyone saying like, ಪ್ರತಿ ಚಿಟ್ಟೇಶ್ವರ ಹಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ saying like again you have to go back to Samayaniki. That is the way we have been trained to.
Conditioned to.
So every time you saying like, then again you have to go back to Sadhinchana. I'm like,
see, there are two arguments here.
Okay.
Certain great musicians have told that yes, certain logical changes have to come with time. Like, this artist has suggested that, it has to be Sadhinchane. It could not have been Samayaniki. Logically that makes more sense. After finishing every Chittaswara, it has to go to the Pallavi. Then other argument is, all our ancestors, the previous great musicians, all the Mahans have sung in a particular way. It has to be that. They wouldn't have done it without a reason. If they have done it in a certain way, it is because there is something in it. So there are two arguments. Now, both of them cannot apply everywhere. It is based on whatever the argument is, based on whatever the context is, we will have to take either one of them at different point in time. If there is a raga, say Kambodi, it doesn't have Kakali Nishada according to its Arohana and Avarohana. But where did it come from?
Yeah.
It is there. As a prayoga, there is still Kakali Nishada that is used in Kambodi. Begada again. Begada doesn't have Kakali Nishada, but we still use. It is like a foreign note that is roped into the ragas just because it sounds nice. So those things, the previous artists, musicians, greats have somehow accommodated into the system and they have done. It is nice to follow those things. But certain logical problems like bhava, like sahitya, like artha shouldn't go some here and there. And that still has to be maintained. It has to be intact. which is where Bala Murali Krishna sir had emphasized on the sahitya, the way it has to be split, the words have to be split. He never compromised on that. Endaro Hanubhavulu, people sing Hanubhavulu separately.
Yeah.
So because it ends in half hour tane Hanubhav. So according to convenience, according to our breathing pattern, we keep splitting words.
No, even in the same kriti towards the end, right?
Yeah.
After the Chiteswara, while you are singing like Rama Bhaktudaina
Tyaga. We'll go and stop. So it's a very popular pause there. So, and then some people said, no, we'll have to finish that Raja and stop. Some people said, no, we should not do that. We'll stop in Tyaga. People have sung it this way. There's always, an argument between this and that. That is up to an artist's, creativity. But of course, you can't just stop in Tyaga. That is like logically it doesn't match.
It doesn't
anything.
make sense also.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it is better to sing the whole line and not sustain at all, or stop it at Tyagaraja.
ಅದ್ರ ಬದಲಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಷ್ಟು ಬ್ರೆತ್ನ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ತರ that is
at least finish that Raja and then sustain and stop and then continue the
ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ತ್ಯಾಗರಾಜ ಆಮೇಲೆ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮ ಓಕೆ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ರಾಮ ಭಕ್ತು ಸೀತಾರಾಮ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ there are so many interpretations,
many versions, many interpretations, all are there.
Yeah.
But okay, see, we'll have to change with time, no doubt.
Yeah.
If there is a little manodharma that is added to it, you added your Sita there, okay, it's okay, you added, it sounds beautiful, sing.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to question. But sing it with bhava, that's all.
Absolutely.
Sita Rama see, when everybody sings together,
yeah,
you don't really worry about the bhava in Tyagaraja Aradhane.
See, for instance, so many people when they're reciting or when they're entering the raga, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಹರಿ ಅಂತ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ದೆಗೆಡಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಷಡ್ಜಾನ ಹಿಡಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಹರಿ ಅಂತ ಹಿಡಿತಾರೆ.
Even Bala Murali Krishna sir, very popular phrase of his is Hari. I
used to always wonder, ಇದನ್ನ ಯಾಕೆ ಹರಿ ಅನ್ಬೇಕು, ಶಿವ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಅನ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ದೇವ ಅನ್ಬಾರ್ದು, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಅಂತಿದೆ. ದೆನ್ ದೇ ಸೈಡ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವುದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ನಿಂಗೆ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಟೆಂಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ತರ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಅವರವರ ಮನೋಧರ್ಮಕ್ಕೆ, ಫಾರ್ ದ ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಓನ್ ಮನೋಧರ್ಮ, ದೇ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ಈಚ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆರ್ ಕೆ ಪದ್ಮನಾಭ ಸರ್, he sings like Vadiraja anta, he get in every so many, we have seen that. Probably that is because he idolizes and he worships. So in their own way of interpretation alli ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾರೆ,
the song can be on anybody. But when you sustain, you can like take anybody's name, any this thing, or you don't even have to take a name. So it is like that. But one lesson I learnt was, coming back to the bhava of the sahitya, this is why people do not relate to the first half of the concert, the lay crowd. They don't relate. There was one YouTube video that I watched of a very, senior musician. It was in Keeravani. And I had listened to that song before. I had learnt it from my guru and I was singing it just like everybody would sing it. Okay, I was just Tadva Jivatvam Brahmani Tadva Jivatvam. I was singing like this and I did not know the meaning of the song. I did not put in any effort to understand the meaning of the song because I had learnt it. My guru had asked me to practice. I practiced, went and sang it again. That's all. But you know what your music should do? It should make people first wonder about what the meaning of the sahitya is. If they don't already know, it should make them wonder, go back, search for the song, understand the meaning, and then from the next time listen to that song.
Brilliant.
It should make people do that. And this rendition of this artist made me do it. So he had taken it in a very Vilamba kala. Okay, I had not listened to it in that version. Tadva jivatvam brahmani Tadva jivatvam. He went to mantra sthai. Tadva जीवत्वं ब्रह्मणि. I lost it that day. I was like, can this song be rendered like this also? And then I went to the meaning of the Sahitya. One line is enough to inspire people to understand what the song is. One line. Just the way you express that line is important.
But see, you are a singer, I understand. Does this apply to an instrumentalist?
Definitely. I mean, it is their responsibility to, because some people, oh God, this is very funny.
Okay.
When they're supposed to play a Neraval,
Yeah,
they have the freedom to just do Kalpana Swara there.
correct.
They don't have Sahitya. But it should sound like the Sahitya.
Correct.
It is very important, and for that they should know the bhava of the song.
Correct.
You know, for example, if we take even this song, Tadva Jivatvam Brahmani, Tadva Jivatvam Brahmani, Tadva Jivatvam Brahmani. The words are split in a certain way. Tadva Jivatvam. So the placement of the word shouldn't change when we do a Neraval. The Sangatis can be different. When they play in the violin or veena or flute, it can't be ma pa ma 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 ga ma pa da ni da pa ma pa. So there's no word there. It has to be the same word placement when they play it
Agree
in
to
that
it.
instrument. And when will that come? When they know the song entirely, the words of the song, only then. My dad used to say the words have to be heard in the mridanga.
That's why I think most of the instrumentalists, for their higher training sessions, they used to get trained under
A vocal,
vocalist.
yes,
Yeah.
which is very important, because even for a mridanga artist, even for the percussionists, layakaras, it is very important that they are able to play according to the sahitya.
Yep. Yep.
So I would always advocate that music, as a composition, and in that composition, the highest priority goes to sahitya, because that is music.
That is music.
That is music,
That
and
is
especially that is our music.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
There can be so many other forms of music in
Yeah.
the world. You have jazz, you have rock, you have so many, just solo percussion. All that is there. In our music, sahitya carries the maximum value. If you take pop music,
Yeah.
why should they write words?
Yeah.
Because it goes and touches people's
No,
hearts.
even they can just write instead of Saregama, Dorema.
They can just keep swaras, no?
Yeah.
Their alphabets, their notes,
Syllable.
syllables, over. Why? Because music is meant to touch people, and that which touches them is sahitya. And it is mostly, predominantly based on religious characters, mythological characters, historical characters, because it was a way of communicating and transferring knowledge to people.
Absolutely. I think that is the reason, coming back to the first point, what you said, it correlates to it. Saying like, when you know the Sahitya,
Yeah.
and when you know the meaning of that Sahitya, so automatically the bhava to each word, it will naturally comes. Like you say, Shrungara da tonda heladaga. So when you are describing the Shrungara thing in form of music, so naturally when you understand each and every word, nin bhavanu ade ರೀತಿಲೇ ಕೊಡ್ತೀಯ ನೀನು.
Yeah.
ಭಾವ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ದೆನ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋರ್, ಸಂಗೀತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿನಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅವಕಾಶ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಹೈರಾಕಿ, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಿ ಅಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ಕೊತಿರೋವಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾಗೇ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ.
True. Now there is a set of songs called Ashtapadi. It is entirely erotic.
Okay.
That is literally the word to explain or describe Ashtapadi. It is an erotic set of compositions done by Jayadeva Swami, and it hailed from Odisha. And that's where he was born, and he had written. That's why popularly Ashtapadis are performed by Odissi dancers. It revolves around the love between Radha and Krishna. Somehow, because of the taboo, people have given it this Jivatma Paramatma color and made it as bland as possible. And there is a traditional set of tunes for Ashtapadi now, which our Carnatic musicians have given.
Yeah.
And they have ripped it off, of its entire bhava, the rasa that it holds. For example, there is this Ashtapadi which is my most favorite, Vadasiyadi. Okay, it is the 19th Ashtapadi. And Priye Charushile, it is more popularly known as Priye Charushile. The first stanza starts with Vadasiyadi. The traditional tune, by not some old thing, it was very recently done. Within a few 50 years it has been done. And in Nama Sankirtana Paddhati also it has been followed with the traditional tunes. And these tunes, in this particular Ashtapadi, has been tuned in Mukhari, which is supposed to be dripping with bhava. Mukhari is a raga that is known for, pining, for that pain and for, all that. So this is where we come to the point where every raga has its own bhava, right? When we sing raga alapane, doesn't mean that it has to just be technical.
Yeah.
Of course it has its
to
own
be.
bhava.
Yeah.
So Mukhari is known for that bhava. And they have specifically picked it for this because Krishna falls at Radha's feet and cries. What a surrender. And another popular artist has tuned this in Kapi. Okay, I have learnt both and I've sung both. But when you sing, when I hear many people sing this in the traditional tune, somehow I don't understand why they have to sing this like tables. 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4 tara. Vadasi yadi kinchidapi dantaruchi kaumudi haratu darati miramati ghoram priye charushile priye charushile. This is the traditional tune.
It sounds like Bhairavi tara.
Yeah, sounds like Bhairavi, but when the charana comes, it will be like Rima Pani Rama Pani Dasa. So that's where you will get the vibe of Mukhari. The same thing, instead of singing it like this, Vadasi yadi kinchidapi, if you speak a little, kinchidapi dantaruchi kaumudi haratu darati miramati ghoram priye charushile. He's addressing Radha. Priye charushile priye. You will have to call her there. Otherwise this line won't come. You will have to become Krishna and call Radha. In that emotion of dejection, of pining, you will have to call her there. Priye charushile. In that charushile, though the word is just charushile, people have to understand that Krishna is asking her to please understand. Charushile, please understand, no Radhe. That has to come in that line. But if it has to go to the audience that way, shouldn't we be in that zone and feel it?
Absolutely.
The same Mukhari. Now there is a charanam to it, which is the best sahitya in the entire world according to me. Smaragarala khandanam mama shirasi mandanam. I am surrendering to you. Please keep your feet on my head. Mama shirasi mandanam dehi tava pada kamala mudharam. So please place your feet on my head so that I attain moksha from this samsara bandhana. Krishna is asking Radha to do this. And it is believed that Jayadeva wanted to write this, it had come to his mind, but then he felt it was so wrong to make the Lord, the supreme force, fall at a Jivatma's feet. It is wrong of me to write this way, and he didn't write it and he went off. Krishna came and wrote those 2 lines and went and said, if that is what you meant to happen there, it should happen there. So it has such divine experience to these 2 lines. Another artist had felt it in a different way and tuned this in Kapi. Smaragarala kandanam mama shirasi mandanam smaragarala kandanam mama shirasi mandanam dehi pada pallava mudaram dehi pada pallava mudaram. So this is, it can be in 2 different ragas. In any damn raga. It can be in Mohana, which is supposed to be a very happy raga. But if you feel that pain there, it has to come through.
Wow.
So that is,
I think the way you are saying, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The Vagekararu who would have created, no, not necessary that he would have rendered in that particular raga only, not necessary, right?
yeah. With respect to Jayadeva Ashtapadi, he has not given any specific ragas to sing in.
Probably it is
Contrary to
after the
Tyagaraja.
generations to generation. See, I'm just assuming, I mean, I might be completely wrong. On a hypothetical situation, let's say, for example, like Tyagaraja might have created one raga, one particular kriti in one particular raga. Antane ankolana. That might not be true also.
Yeah, there are a few cases where it is considered not true. Some other person has changed it and called it Tyagaraja's own tune. There are so many speculations.
How many years
like
back? Say, for
that.
example, 200, 300 years back, or Tyagaraja's we go back to?
Yeah, Tyagaraja was a contemporary of, they were all contemporaries, all the 3 musicians. So it was around 1600.
1600.
Yeah,
Correct.
1900,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
precisely. So over that, how many copies, I'm just assuming in the form of books in a published ಮಾಡೋ ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸೊ ಅವರಿಂದ ವಾಗೇಕಾರರಿಂದ to his direct disciples, from direct disciples to the generations to generations to generations. On a hypothetical situation, in between, some disciple would have felt like, okay, this can be interpreted in this way also. Tyagaraja might have done like this, and but ಅವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ the generation also would have followed in that way.
Yeah, the entire
Possibility.
parampara would have changed
Entire
for that
parampara,
line.
yeah, the family tree or whomsoever. I think eventually the Sahitya might not have changed.
Yes, but the tune, the raga, just the interpret, even if it is in the same raga, the way the line is sung would have changed. There are mighty possibilities this would have happened. In a game of Chinese whisper,
Yeah.
like by the time the word goes from the first to the last person, it changes so many times.
I myself only experienced when I was learning Mridangam from my first guru. He had taught me like Digutari Kidataka. Digutari Kidataka. The second time when I went, instead of Digutari Kidataka, he taught me Rikutanka Kitataka. I'm like, I was wondering, and it took a lot of time for me to get back to the whole word also. Then I was thinking, sir, idenge adu same alva antane. No, this is a different schooling. I'm like, sir, both of them belong to the same guru alva, sir, anta I'm saying.
Yeah.
The both of them, the Shishya's disciple or the Parampara which comes, they belong to the same guru.
They come from the same.
Yeah, then they were like, no, you hing madidare. I was like, okay, whom to stick ಅನ್ನೋ confusion ನಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ I'm just, with the way you say it.
That is Manodharma. That
Correct.
is a very, it's a very vast subject and entirely misinterpreted concept. So it is a story for another day, literally. If we go into Manodharma, Yeah, but that is also manodharma, where
Yeah.
one's interpretation has been transferred to the, that particular line of students, that school. And see, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
music is a very creative art form within boundaries,
Yeah.
but bhava
Yeah.
is individualistic.
Yeah.
It cannot be repeated by the second person.
Yeah.
No, every line is felt in a completely different way.
Yeah.
The same raga, in one of the classes it happened, the guru is teaching 32 of us one raga, and I am singing it. Everybody is singing it on mute because it's an online class, and he asks us the experience after the class, and we'll have to type like a small paragraph and send it. Some said they were in a meditative state. Some said they were overjoyed. Some said, including me, I had tears in my eyes. I was crying. I felt so much, dukkha in that raga. Especially when when he was teaching Purya Kalyan, I had tears rolling down. I started to feel some void. All this was there. The same raga, taught by the same guru, repeated by a set of students during the same class, is felt by each individual in a completely different way. So bhava is individualistic.
Absolutely.
It
Even
is.
I think that applies even to the consumers as well.
Oh yeah. When I finish my concerts and people come and talk to me, some people have tears in their eyes and say, I miss my daughter. Somebody in their lives would have passed away. Somebody will not be there. Will just not be next to them. They are missing them. For some people, it is about connections between people. For some people, they come and tell me, you took us straight to this place. You took us straight to Sri Ranganatha in Tiruchi when you sang Rangapura Vihara. You took us straight here. I went there. I could see him right in front of my eyes. For some people, it is purely having darshana of God. For some people who have had knee surgeries, they said, I forgot about my pain for the last 3 hours. I forgot I even got a surgery done. I was painless. So it is a medicine for some people. So it is entirely different. But the one thing that remains the same is the bhava, once evoked in you, is evoked in them also. It can manifest in many ways, but it is still bhava.
But until and unless it evokes, if it doesn't evoke within you,
no effect on the audience. No effect. They just keep sitting like this, that's all. There are TV,
and it will be clearly evident also.
Yeah, and that is when the camera pans them, they will say, look at the camera and say hi. Everybody will be like, hey, hi, and all. That is when all that will happen. Otherwise, they'll be absorbed in the music and they'll not even know the camera is panning towards them. I had to say that.
On a lighter note, before we end this conversation, I just wanted to, for the audience, like they said, hi.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just play a quick rapid fire round with you. So the kind of rapid fire round is it's a very different, it's just came instantly.
Okay, so I usually think a lot before I answer.
It's not about answering, it's the most easiest for you.
Okay.
So I just keep coining the name of the gods.
Okay.
So 2-line songs.
Oh wow, okay.
Correct, no? So I think it is just for the feast. It's going to be feast because like the way instantly you have to shift.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. So please forgive me in case if I'm going to interrupt in between a song. To all the people, I'm trying to tell that. So that Ardha Sahithyadalli Madhyadalli ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ. It's only for the fun we are trying to do that.
Yeah. I hope I know songs on every deity now. You, Rama.
Hello.
Okay.
I'm talking to Sivasri.
Please. No, this and all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we start, in her name only, Shiva.
இரக்கம் வராமல் போனதென்ன காரணம் என் சுவாமிக்கு இரக்கம் வராமல் போனதென்ன காரணம் என் சுவாமிக்கு.
ಹನುಮಂತ.
धन्याञ्जनी च सुत, धन्याञ्जनी च सुत, त्याचे नाव हनुमंत, त्याचे नाव हनुमंत. जेणे सीता शुद्धी केली, जेणे सीता शुद्धी केली. राम सीता, राम सीता, राम सीता भेटविली, धन्याञ्जनी च सुत.
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ.
क्षीराब्धि कन्निके श्री महालक्ष्मी, ಆರಿಗೆ ವಧುವಾಗುವೆ ಅಂಬುಜಾಕ್ಷಿ, ಆರಿಗೆ ವಧುವಾಗುವೆ.
ನರಸಿಂಹ.
ನರಸಿಂಹ ಆಗಚ, ನರಸಿಂಹ ಆಗಚ, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸೂಚ. ನರಸಿಂಹ ಆಗಚ, ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಪೂಚ.
ರಾಮ.
राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने. राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने. राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने. राम रतन धन पायो.
ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
ಜಗದೋದ್ಧಾರಣ ಆಡಿಸಿದಳ ಶೋದೆ, ಜಗದೋದ್ಧಾರನ ಮಗನಿಂದು ತಿಳಿಯುತ್ತ. ಸುಗುಣಾಂತರಂಗನ ಆಡಿಸಿದಳ ಶೋದೆ, ಜಗದೋದ್ಧಾರನ.
I couldn't think of anyone else after this. Wow. Truly. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
How was the experience coming to this show?
It was first. It was so. It was an open conversation that I had with you. I've not. Generally interviews are very formal, and
Yeah.
they keep asking me the same set of questions. When
Yeah.
did you start learning? What all did you do?
Yeah.
All that is typical.
Yeah.
It is usual. But here, I was able to express the real music that is inside, the real atanka that is inside that surrounds what is happening today. So it was so comfortable and very, very different set of questions, because you also have the Sangeeta Gnana. You've also learnt, and you know what it is in the Carnatic circle, in the film circle, everything. So I was able to have a holistic conversation. It was lovely.
No,
Lovely.
but
Yeah.
jokes apart, I think, like I said,
That was not a joke, by the way.
no. No, I didn't mean in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, so in general, overall, like whenever I have met you off screen, like
Yeah.
we have had numerous discussions, conversations, but this particular conversation, like every episode, I say that when I have a takeaway, my people will also have a takeaway. Takeaway in the sense, there should be, at the beginning of the show, I said, no, don't focus on the language, focus on the knowledge. Anta.
Yeah.
So ಆ ಜ್ಞಾನ ನನಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಗ್ರೀಡಿ ಆಫ್ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಲರ್ನ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಮನಿ ಅಂತ.
Yeah.
ಮನಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ.
Best greed to have.
Best greed to have.
Yeah.
And like as much as possible, just keep extracting from the people. Every person is unique in their own ways. Like
True.
be it from one of the greatest talents, singers, musician, actor in the hidu, someone who is like he's just doing a labor work. Okay, there will be something wherein you can a life lesson will be there anta.
Yeah.
So the amount of, that's why I didn't want to tap around saying like, okay, so many people would have done, why did you come to Bangalore, how did your music, though
Yeah.
initially we tried, but there was a different dimension altogether to that conversation. I wanted to know exactly when we got into the depth, nothing was prepared, by the way. So
Yeah.
usually
Everything was impromptu.
like, see, you can just see impromptu. So I don't prepare any questions for my podcast. It's always, I say that it's not an interview, it is just a conversation between two friends.
Yeah.
So in Visit and when we have a conversation, this is the amount or the depth of it where the conversation has to be there.
Yeah.
Basically, we don't see mobile phones in this conversation. Imagine if this happens in day-to-daily life, even though camera isn't there.
True. True.
That is where the kind of conversation gets
Yeah.
into the depth. And thank you for pouring so much of knowledge to us.
Oh, it was it was not
No.
knowledge, but like whatever little, experiences I've had.
Exactly, with the
It's just sharing
with
it.
the amount of experience what you have, like there are so many aspects wherein the channel opens and I feel like, yeah, we need to think in this dimension. It happens with everyone.
Yeah.
So but with the amount of experience you have got onto the table, so the way you share, the way you express in terms of the music or in general overall your life manodharma.
Yes.
That's the
Wow. That's a very beautiful way to put it.
no, because your life manodharma, no, that is when we will be able to consume it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thanks a lot. Please keep
you.
entertaining with your manodharma.
Bhagavad Sankalpa.
So let
Thank
the
you.
Rayur Ashirvada be
Yeah.
always. I wanted to end with Rayur song actually.
Oh.
We can do that, right?
Sure.
So no, because usually I end my show with saying like on the count 3, 2, 1 and tell Namaskara Guru anta we say.
Oh yeah.
Rayuru is nothing but Guru Raghavendra. So, what a nice note. On that note, ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಂಚಿಕೆನ ಮುಕ್ತಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೊಸ ಸಂಚಿಕೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರು ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತುಕತೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಸಂದರ್ಶನ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರು ಆರ್ಟಿಸ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತುಕತೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಡೂ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಅವರ್ ಚಾನಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ರಾಜೀವ, ಕ್ರಾಸ್ಫೇಡ್ ಸ್ಟುಡಿಯೋಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾ ನನ್ನ ಟೀಮ್ ಸುಮಂತ್, ಪರಾಗ್. Thank you so much for all the support. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಎಪಿಸೋಡಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ತೀನಿ. Till then, signing off. Namaskara Guru.
Yeah. This is a very special song to me also. It was written by Raghavendra Swami. This was the only song that he has composed and it's very close to my heart. So I'll finish with this. ನೊಂದೇನಯ್ಯ ಭಾವ ಬಂಧನದೋಳು ಸಿಲುಕಿ ನೊಂದೇನಯ್ಯ ಭಾವ ಬಂಧನದೋಳು ಸಿಲುಕಿ ಮುಂದೆ ದಾರಿ ಕಾಣದೆ ಕುಂದಿದೆ ಜಗದೋಳು ಕಂದನಂತೆಂದು ಎನ್ನ ಕುಂದೂಗಳೆ ನೀಸದೆ ಕಂದನಂತೆಂದು ಎನ್ನ ಕುಂದೂಗಳೆ ನೀಸದೆ ತಂದೆ ಕಾಯೋ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ತಂದೆ ಕಾಯೋ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ತಂದೆ ಕಾಯೋ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಕಂದರ್ಪ ಜನಕನೇ ಇಂದು ಏನಗೆ ಗೋವಿಂದ ನಿನ್ನ ಪಾದಾರವಿಂದವ ತೋರೋ ಮುಕುಂದ ಮುಕುಂದ.
ಧನ್ಯೋಸ್ತಮಿ.
Thank you.